Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Is there anybody else who would like to, read the verse?
Yes, so thank you. I welcome everyone to today's session, today's Sangha. And today we are going to read chapter Canto 2, chapter 8, still on questions by King Parikshit. Chapter 8, verse 14. So the translation. Then again,
Do you want me to read
describe...
Do you want me to read the Sanskrit?
Yes, kindly. Thank you.
Okay, so Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, chapter 8, text 14. Yasmin karma samavayo yatha yeno pagrihyate gunanam guninam chaiva parinamnam abhipsatam.
Translation. Then again, kindly describe how the proportionate accumulation of the reactions resulting from the different modes of material nature act upon the desiring living being, promoting or degrading him among the different species of life, beginning from the demigods down to the most insignificant creatures. Hare Krishna.
Anybody would like to read the purport? Shall I read the purport? Or
Okay.
somebody wants to? Purport. The actions and reactions of all works in the material modes of nature, either in the minute form the actions and reactions of all works in the material modes of nature, either in the minute form or in the gigantic form, are accumulated, and thus the result of such accumulated actions and reactions of karma or work become manifested in the same proportion. How such actions and reactions take place, what the different procedures are, and in what proportion they act are all subject matters of Maharaj Parikshit's inquiries from the great Brahmin Sukadeva Goswami. Life in the higher planets, known as the abodes of the denizens of heaven, is obtained not by the strength of spacecraft, as is now being contemplated by the inexperienced scientists, but by works done in the mode of goodness. Even on the very planet we are now living, there are restrictions upon the entrance of foreigners into a country where the citizens are more prosperous. For example, the American government has many restrictions for the entrance of foreigners from less prosperous countries. The reason is that the Americans do not wish to share the prosperity with any foreigner who has not qualified himself as a citizen of America. Similarly, the same mentality is prevailing in every other planet, where there are more intelligent living beings residing. The higher planetary living conditions are all in the mode of goodness, and anyone desiring to enter the higher planets like the moon, sun, and Venus, must qualify thoroughly by activity in complete goodness. Maharaj Parikshit's inquiries are on the basis of proportionate actions of goodness, which qualify one in this planet to be promoted to the highest regions of the universe. Even on this planet of our present residence, one cannot achieve a good position within the social order without being qualified with proportionate good work. One cannot forcibly sit on the chair of a high court judge without being qualified for the post. Similarly, one cannot enter into the higher planetary systems without being qualified by good works in this life. And persons addicted to the habits of passion and ignorance have no chance of entering the higher planetary systems simply by an electronic mechanism. According to the statement of the Bhagavad Gita 9.25, persons trying to qualify themselves for promotion to the higher heavenly planets can go there. Similarly, persons trying for the Pitralokas can go there. Similarly, persons trying to improve the condition on this earth can also do that, and persons who are engaged in going back home, back to Godhead, can achieve that result. The various actions and reactions of work in the mode of goodness are generally known as pious work with devotional service, culture of knowledge with devotional service, mystic powers with devotional service, and at last, devotional service unmixed with any other varieties of goodness. This unmixed devotional service is transcendental and is called Parabhakti. It alone can promote a person to the transcendental kingdom of God. Such a transcendental kingdom is not a myth, but is as factual as the moon. One must have transcendental qualities to understand the kingdom of God and God Himself. Okay, so first I just wanted to check, can everybody hear me? Because our Wi-Fi is very slow here. Wi-Fi and data is both very slow here today. So can everybody hear me clearly?
Yes, Mataji. From my end, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. So before I continue giving this class, I just wanted to touch a little bit because today is Shivas Thakur's disappearance day, and he's a very important personality in our sampradaya. So Shivas Thakur, he's the 5th member of the Panchatattva. So Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, and Shivas Thakur. So who is Shivas Thakur? Shivas Thakur is an incarnation of Narad Muni. And in the Panchatattva, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, he is representing the marginal living entity, i.e. us, Tatashta Shakti. So Advaita Acharya and Shivas Thakur, they used to read and study Srimad Bhagavatam together. And they came together and prayed for an incarnation to take birth, to re-establish Vaishnavism, because at that time in Navadvip, there were so many scholars and Mayavadis, logicians, but there was hardly any true devotional service. There was hardly any true bhakti. So they prayed for an incarnation of Krishna to come and re-establish Vaishnavism. Mahaprabhu, he loved Shivas Thakur and his wife Malini Devi as his second parents. So Shiva Sangan, which is about I think 200 yards from where Nimai's house was, and that is actually where the Sankirtan mission was started. This is where the initial very intimate and very closed door kirtans used to happen, where only the intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya were allowed. That was at Shivas Thakur's house. And it is also here where Chand Kazi broke the Mirdanga in an attempt to stop the Sankirtan mission. And within the four walls of Shiva's Thakur's house, the Lord showed his divine form to all his associates. They used to hold daily Bhagavatam classes at Shiva's Thakur's house, and many other confidential pastimes occurred at his house. So Shiva's Thakur and his family, they were completely dedicated to the mission of Lord Chaitanya. They didn't know anybody else. One time there was this kirtan going on at night, and everybody was in ecstasy, dancing and singing. And then Shiva's Thakur could hear that from inside the room the women were crying. So he went into the inner chamber and he saw that his son had passed away, and the women were grieving. And he told all the women to keep quiet and not to interrupt the Sankirtan, the kirtan that was going on. And he explained that we should consider ourselves so fortunate that the son passed away while kirtan was going on with Mahaprabhu in the kirtan. So, and then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu found out that Shiva's Thakur was so dedicated to him that he didn't interrupt the kirtan even though his son had passed away, Mahaprabhu was actually in tears when he saw how much love Shiva's Thakur had for him. And at that point, Mahaprabhu gave this benediction to Shiva's Thakur that there will never be poverty in his house, even if he simply remained indoors, never venturing out. All his needs will always be fulfilled. So amazing relationship between Shiva's Thakur and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, full of love, full of surrender. So many things started at Shiva's Thakur's house, very intimate pastimes, very intimate happenings happened in his house. And through Shiva's Thakur, Lord Chaitanya taught us how he is so much conquered by the love of his devotee, and how anyone who is dear to his devotee also conquers his heart. So today is the disappearance day of Shiva's Thakur, very important personality. We can gather a lot of inspiration from his life, from how dedicated him and his family were to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is literally the beginning of where the Sankirtan mission started. So now go to today's verse. Yasmin karma samavayo yatha yeno pagriyate gunanam guninam chaiva parinamnam abhipsatam. Then again, kindly describe how the proportionate accumulation of the reactions resulting from the different modes of material nature act upon the desiring living being, promoting or degrading him among the different species of life, beginning from the demigods down to the most insignificant creatures. So this chapter is known as the questions asked by King Parikshit. Now, if you can just for a moment put yourself in his shoes, you have 7 days or less, maybe 7 days or less to live. And you are asking all these questions. So if we just kind of like go back to the verses of this chapter that we've been through already, he's asking questions about, like, for example, how a soul acquires a body. Then he wants to know the actual positions of the planetary systems. Then he's asking about the duration of time between creation and annihilation. And he wants to know about measurement of life of the different categories of being. And now in this particular verse, he's inquiring about karma. Now, if we go back completely, he's actually already, Sukadev Goswami has already established that for somebody who only has 7 days to live, the best process is to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. to hear the pastimes of Krishna. That has been established. He is seated by the banks of the Ganges in the association of the best sages, thousands of. So he's in the best association, already doing what he's supposed to be doing in the best place. Why is he asking such questions? When you already got it, you're in the best place, doing the best thing at the best time with the best people, then why at this juncture of his life, why would he be asking these questions? So Srila Prabhupada, in the previous purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Parikshit Maharaj was not just satisfied to hear the importance of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, but he was still more anxious to establish the philosophical basis of Srimad Bhagavatam. So he is establishing the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam by asking these questions for the future generations, for us. His inquiries are for the benefit of all of us. So it just goes on to show that what a magnanimous soul Parikshit Maharaj was, that he's got 7 days to live, and here he is, his thinking about the benefit of other people, the future generations. Just how selfless, how magnanimous, and this completely corresponds to the heart, the nature of a preacher. Like Srila Prabhupada, he didn't need to travel to America at the age of 70. He could have just stayed in Vrindavan at Radha Damodar temple. It was very nicely situated. He was staying right next to the Samadhi and Bhajan Kutir Srila Rupa Goswami, a very, very important temple, Shishirada Damodar. He could have just stayed there. He could have just perfected his life. But no, he decided to take on the instructions of his Guru Maharaj seriously, and he traveled at the age of 70 to America. So we just get a glimpse into the heart of these amazing souls, Parikshit Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, that where their hearts were, how selfless, how magnanimous they are. He didn't need to ask these questions. He didn't need to. But for our sake, he asked this question to establish the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam for us future generations to take shelter of. So I just thought that was a very nice and important point. So now this particular verse is inquiring about karma. Okay, so we as living entities, we've been wandering in this material sphere since time immemorial. We're going through 8,400,000 species of life forms. And this is called samsara, cycle of birth and death. And it's cycle because it's cyclic. Birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. It's never ending. We take birth, we do certain activities, those activities prepare our next life, and on and on and on and on, based on material desires. This lifetime we're doing karma, we're accumulating karma, we're accumulating so many desires, and those two things via the subtle body will take us to our next life. So as we speak, as we're sitting here, we're literally preparing our next body. So the material nature is compared to like a huge big garment shop that provides us bodies, different bodies according to our desires and our previous karma. So for example, the example that's been given, if you want to eat meat, a lot of meat, okay, fine, that's fine. Take the body, you'll get a body of a tiger or a lion or a dog, then you can eat as much meat as you want. You want to enjoy sex life, that's fine. Here, take the body of a monkey or a crow, and you can enjoy as much sex life as you want. You love sleeping? No problem. Take the body of a bear. They hibernate for 6 months. So, this, in a nutshell, is karma. We get a particular body, we perform certain actions according to our desires. As we are performing these actions, we're accumulating karma. Now, this karma and our desires are designing our next body. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 17, it says that karmani karmano hi api bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha, karmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gati. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. So, why is it saying that the intricacies of action are very hard to understand? Because it is very intricate. It is very complicated. It is not linear. We have accumulated karma for thousands and thousands of years. And then with each life, we're burning some, but we're creating more karma. We're burning some, we're creating more karma. So it is so intricate and it is so complicated that it's very, very difficult to understand. However, then the verse, but one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. So, three things: what is action, what is inaction, and what is forbidden action. So, there's karma, there's vikarma, and there's akarma. So, karma here is stated as any good or pious actions. Like we may do in Sanskrit is punya, charity. People build schools, they build hospitals, they help educate poor people, they feed the poor, so many things. Even just being responsible, being dutiful. This is all good karma. Hare Krishna. Shall I continue?
I can hear you, Mataji.
Okay, fine. So, talking about karma. Karma is regarded here as good punya, good activities that would elevate us. And then vikarma are the sinful activities that degrade us, sinful activities like breaking the principles, stealing. All these are considered all the vices. These actions, they degrade us into lower planetary systems or into the animal species. And the resultant karma would be to go through some suffering. When we do a sinful action, at that time it may seem enjoyable. At that time it may seem, oh, what's wrong with this? But the accumulated reaction of the sinful activity will always be suffering. So either we will suffer in this lifetime, or depending on how sinful our activities are, we may be degraded to lower planetary systems, to the hellish planets, or to animal life. Like I think Umapati Prabhu, I was recently talking to him, and we're just talking, and he was saying all these like corrupt politicians, like we can see in Africa, all these corrupt politicians, because their actions have an impact on millions of people, on on millions of civilians, a lot of these corrupt politicians end up taking birth as street dogs in their next lives. Not just one life, but many lifetimes. And or lower hellish planets, or even lower animals, or take birth as street dogs for many lifetimes, because they really cause suffering for millions of people. So this is very important to understand. And then akarma. Akarma means actually no action, but it doesn't mean that we do not perform any action, that we just sit and do nothing. No, it means spiritual activities. Because spiritual activities is transcendental, it has no good or bad reaction. It has no reaction. Because spiritual activity is transcendental, above the modes of material nature, so it doesn't have any good or bad reaction. It only is, it just builds up the credit in our spiritual bank balance. So these are the three different karmas that this verse is talking about. What karma, vikarma, akarma. Very important to understand each of this. What is karma? What is vikarma? What is akarma? And also another reason is why we should know this properly is because the degree, according to our knowledge, the decisions we make in life are directly related to the amount of knowledge we have. So if we understand this concept of karma deeply and carefully, we will be very careful about our actions. And this is very important, because the degree to which we have knowledge, to that degree we are going to make decisions. So very important to understand karma, akarma, and vikarma properly. It's all in the Bhagavad Gita. Then again, just to expound on karma, there is instant and delayed karma. So for example, if a thief is caught on the streets stealing, and he's caught stealing, and he's either beaten up or he's taken to the police station, so he's got immediate reaction for his karma just done. So that's immediate karma. He stole something and now he's suffering. Now when we, for example, that's instant karma. Then for example, we go somewhere and we eat bad food, and that reaction comes after a few hours when we have a bad stomach. So this it's a little somewhat delayed reaction by a few hours. There could be illicit activities. It could be shady deals we're performing at work, illicit activities that we will not get the reaction. We'll get the reaction after many years. Or similarly, the reaction to karma can be after so many lifetimes. It is not that we get all our reactions in this one lifetime. Whatever good or bad we're performing in this lifetime, then we're going to get the reaction in this lifetime. No, it is not possible, because we already have a backlog of so much karma from previous lifetimes. So the reactions continue into next lifetimes. Just like, it's like karma is like sowing a seed. So different seeds will take different time to grow, to fructify. So for example, you grow papaya, or you grow mango, or you grow banana, you grow an orange. Each one of those fruit trees is going to take a different time scale to bear fruits. So similarly, different karmas will take different amounts of time to get the reactions. Then it's also explained that also the conditions have to be right for the karma to fructify. So the story is that there was a hunter who killed 100 birds while its parents were still alive. So what was the reaction was that he would have to get killed 100 times, or his children, or 100 of his children would have to get killed while he was still alive. Now, in order for him to get 100 children, he first had to accumulate good karma. He had to accumulate good karma to beget 100 sons. So that took a few hundred lifetimes for him to accumulate that kind of good karma to be able to have 100 sons that were then killed right in front of him. So this is what the verse means, that it is so intricate. It is so intricate. It is actually unfathomable for us. And this example is actually Dhritarashtra. Because in one lifetime as a hunter, he killed 100 birds while the parents were still alive and watching. And then over a few hundred years, he had to accumulate good karma to produce 100 sons. And then the 100 sons were killed during the war. So this is the intricacies of karma, very interesting. Another term in karma is sanchita karma. Sanchita karma is the sum total accumulation of a karma. What all the accumulated karma over the lifetimes, that's called sanchita karma. And prarabdha karma is the karma that we are suffering or enjoying right now. It is the reason why you have the particular body that you have: black, brown, white, rich, poor, educated, not educated, beautiful, not beautiful, all these things, all these, this is prarabdha karma. So this karma has fructified in this lifetime, and hence you have this particular body, this particular makeup, this particular financial situation, this particular relationship situation. This is prarabdha karma that you're going through right now, and that cannot be changed. That we have to go through. So, and then what to do? Is this unending? This cycle of birth and death, this karma is fructifying, and then you create more karma, and then more karma fructifying. Is there actually an end to this? There is, and I'll come to this point later. But another question arises: is there any free will? Does the soul have any free will, or are we completely just controlled by this action, reaction, action, reaction, action, reaction? Do we have any free will at all? So this is a question I'm asking. Would anybody like to answer? Does the living entities, does the soul have free will at all? Or is it just this cycle of action and reaction, good, bad, suffering, enjoying? Does the living entity have any free will? Anybody would like to try and answer that?
Hare Krishna. Maybe I was having this discussion over the weekend with some few devotees, and they quoted the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 60, where it says, 59, if you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be forcefully directed by your nature and you'll have to be engaged in warfare. And then 60, under illusion, you are not declining to act according to my direction, but compelled by the work of born of your own nature, you will act all the same. And we came to realization, free will is just born from our own nature, and we have to work, we have to act either way. Thank you.
Yes, we have to act. If we don't act, we're going to because of our nature we'll act anyway, but better to act consciously, because then at least we can do it within the boundaries of dharma. Otherwise our nature will force us to act even if it is outside the boundaries of dharma or duty. That yes, but that is still, so does that mean that we do not have any free will?
I think we have a free will.
We have free will. Yes, it is very, very, very interesting to actually understand this. Very important. As is important to understand karma, is to understand that yes, we have minute free will. And this free will we have is before we make a decision to act. We always have free will before we act. So, what it means is, before I decide to punch somebody in the face because this person made me angry or whatever, I always have a choice to either punch the person or just walk away. Before this is very, 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 very important for devotees. Before I decide to break a principle, at that point I have free will. I have the power of decision. I have the power of choice. Yes, I'm going to break this principle, or no, actually, I'm just going to walk away. So before we act, we always have free will. Very important point, because it can be very empowering. Can be very empowering, because before you act, before you take a decision to act in a certain way, to go to here, to do something, to not do something, to steal, to lie, slow down, and just rethink it, because at that point you have that power. But once you've done the action, then that's it. You've acted. So yes, we do have free will. At that juncture, just before we act, we have free will. So yes, a small point, but I think very, very important, especially in the lives of devotees. Karmis can act. Karmis, they don't have boundaries. They can act. What does it matter? There is, like, for them, ignorance is bliss. But for devotees, especially, ignorance is no excuse. We understand the philosophy, yet the mind, our desires under the modes of material nature, push us in certain directions, in certain ways. But to understand that in all that, we have the power of decision, we have the power of choice, and we have free will. Just as an example, on a Friday night, you have the choice to go out drinking and partying with your friends, or you have the choice of going and sitting in a kirtan. So, yes, we do have free will. Now, in this book, what Srila Prabhupada mentioned so many times, mode of goodness, mode of goodness, mode of goodness. So, why he's mentioning, like, even traveling, going to other planets, is all based on the mode of goodness, because being in the mode of goodness is a stepping stone to transcendental goodness, or Suddha Sattva. So many things we can achieve in life and just by being in the mode of goodness. And it is not the easiest. It's very difficult to be consistently and constantly in the mode of goodness, because the modes are always, like, we never just see primary colors. We always see a mixture of the primary colors. And this is how the modes of nature are. We cannot always, very difficult always is to be in the mode of goodness. But as a devotees, we We need to strive to always stay in the mode of goodness. All our habits, what time we go to bed, what time we wake up, our association, what kind of people we hang out with. Birds of a feather, what is it called? Birds of a feather fly together, or something like that. You can judge a person by the company the person keeps. So our daily habits, our eating habits, our association, what we read, what we watch, the kind of music we listen to, the kind of clothes we wear, everything is dependent on the moods that we are in. If we're in the mode of ignorance, then we're going to be attracted to that kind of music. We're going to be attracted to that kind of association. We're going to be attracted to those kind of habits, sleeping late, waking up late. So constantly in all these things, striving to be in the mode of goodness. And we can achieve so much. Interplanetary travel, Srila Prabhupada is saying, is achievable by being in the mode of goodness. To be spiritual, even to just start being spiritual, requires a certain amount of mode of goodness. And as we progress in our spiritual life, we can understand how the success of spirituality is so much dependent on being in the mode of goodness, which again I reiterate, emphasize, means everything that we're doing, from the time we get up to the time we go to bed, our habits, our association, because the kind of association we have it will have a strong influence on the kind of habits we develop, which again will have a very strong influence on the quality of life we live, especially as devotees. You cannot go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning and wake up and be in the right frame of mind and be so inspired to chant. It's very rare, unless it's completely circumstantial. You can't hang out and party all night and then wake up at 4:30 in the morning and be inspired to chant and read. It just doesn't go hand in hand. It doesn't work. So very, very, very important. Just as it is important to understand karma, it is very, very, very important to understand the material modes of nature. Because once you understand the material modes of nature, it really helps you make right decisions. It helps you judge situations. It helps you judge people correctly, whether this is fit for your association or not. Do I want to develop a friendship with this person or not? Do I want to eat in this place? How do I cook my food? What time I go to bed? What time I wake up? Everything is. If you understand the modes of nature, which is the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, honestly, it becomes like a barometer of judging everything in your life. And once you can do that, it becomes so much easier to perform your spiritual activities. Because initially in spiritual life, it's like a tug of war, We want a little bit of both. We want spirituality, but then also, I want to go enjoy with my friends. Well, I want spirituality, but yeah, I just want to go and enjoy some food outside, which is okay, it's step by step. But understanding the modes of material nature will help you so much in your progression in your spiritual life. Because it what determines practically everything. It determines what kind of desires we will develop. It will determine so many things: desire, association, how strongly we perform our sadhana. So, take time and read the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and it is so nicely explained. The modes of material nature, how actually the soul doesn't act. We think right now in this conditioned state of mind that the soul is enjoying or the soul is suffering. No, the soul has nothing to do with this material activities. It is only the modes of material nature. You know that picture in the Bhagavad Gita, like we are just a puppet and the three strings, and those are the modes of material nature. So the modes of material nature, these are powerful forces. There's a powerful energy that is constantly pushing us in different directions. You know, I want to see this, I want to smell this, I want to taste this, I want to touch this. This is completely the pushings, the force of material nature. It's actually got nothing to do with the soul. And then we're like these puppets, enjoying this enjoying or suffering, completely just controlled by the modes of material nature. So once we understand this, then the next question will be, okay, how do I overcome this? And Srila Prabhupada is here explaining we have to strive to come to the mode of goodness, because that is a stepping stone to the mode of transcendental goodness, or Suddha Sattva. And what is this? Transcendental goodness is the stage where now we are performing devotional service. The minute we are performing devotional service, we are beyond the modes, because now we are associating with Krishna, and Krishna is above the modes of material nature. So, in conclusion, the only sure and guaranteed way of getting free from the cycle of birth and death is to take complete shelter of the Lord. It's the only way to overcome the modes of material nature, which will help us overcome material desires, which will help us overcome good and bad karma. So very nice verses just to support what I have been saying. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.15. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayana agham dhunvanti kartsneya niharam eva bhaskara. Only a rare person who has adopted complete unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful actions with no possibility that they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. So just by performing devotional service, then we're not accumulating any karma. Hence, we're not accumulating any sinful actions or reactions. Srimad Bhagavatam 1-19. Tada rajastama bhava kama lobhadayaschaye chetta eter anavidham sitam satve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. Such a beautiful verse. And then one last one, Bhagavad Gita 14:26. Mam chayo vyabhicharana bhakti yogina sevata sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So here, these are the verses just supporting what I'm saying, is that in order to get out of this cycle of birth and death, the only way to do this is through devotional service. What is devotional service? Chanting, reading, hearing, remembering, repeating. Very simply put. These are the activities that will help us get over the modes of material nature. There is no other process. And yes, so very important, very, very, very important to understand the modes of material nature. Very important to get an understanding of karma. Very important to get an understanding of what free will we have and what it means, because then it can really help us make the right decisions at the right time. It will help us choose the right association, and it will help us progress in our spiritual life so nicely. Because if we can change our association and associate with devotees, as so much emphasis on is on associating with devotees, because it is only in the association of devotees that we're going to be inspired to hear, to chant, to remember. Srila Prabhupada, he was once asked by somebody if he can perform any miracle. And he said, yes, this is my miracle. He pointed to all his disciples and he said, I've changed hippies into happies. You know, before these people met Srila Prabhupada, they didn't have any, they were not following any rules or regulations. They didn't have any yardstick. They didn't have any barometer. They didn't know what is sinful, what is not sinful. But Srila Prabhupada, this one person, he changed, and he turned this. They were complete hippies. Forget, they were just breaking all principles. They had no boundaries, and Srila Prabhupada turned them into this, loving devotees of Krishna who just purified their lives. I just recently I was listening to a class by Keshav Maharaj. I do not remember the actual example, but it was a very, very powerful example, especially in context to this class. I think Srila Prabhupada landed somewhere. And so as he was coming out of the immigration, all these, so many devotees back in the days, there would be a whole fleet of devotees there coming to welcome Srila Prabhupada. And I think they all fell down on the floor to offer their obeisances. And Srila Prabhupada looked at one of his disciples and he asked, do you know why people give me so much respect and worship me? And the disciple was like, no. And he says, because I don't indulge in sex life. And then he stopped and he thought for a moment and said, I don't have time to indulge in sex life. So appropriate. So, this, we all gonna have to make this transition from material desires to becoming spiritual, and gradually becoming completely spiritual, where we have no material desires. That is like, okay, how is that even possible? But Srila Prabhupada makes it so possible by saying, the next statement he said is that I have no time. That we can all do. We can be so engaged throughout the day in hearing, in chanting, in remembering, in doing other devotional services, in preaching, that we will actually have no time to think about anything else. That Srila Prabhupada has made it possible for us. He's given us this opportunity to do that. This is why the temples exist, is for us to perform our sadhana and to perform devotional service and to associate with devotees, so that we can become free from material desires, so that we can become free from the conditionings, the pushings of the modes of material nature, so that we can purify our activities. There's no other reason to have this temple. This is the sole fundamental reason why we have temples. So yes, this is, I would like to conclude by just saying that we just literally, this chapter has had so many nice verses on the benefits of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, beautiful verses, So there is actually nothing else in this world besides taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam and the holy name and the association of devotees. We should always seek association higher than ourselves. There is nothing more. The rest is, some hours of duty. some hours of making a living, and some hours of spending time with family. If you're lucky, you have family that's devotees. If not, it's still family is family. That's a few hours. As we grow, as we progress spiritually, more and more our time needs to be occupied by chanting, hearing, and associating with devotees and remembering Krishna, because ultimately there's actually nothing. There is nothing more in this material world, and there's nothing else can free us from the cycle of birth and death. So I'll stop the class here. I'd appreciate any questions, any comments, and any corrections. Thank you very much. Thank you for tolerating me. And if I have made any mistakes, if I have offended anybody, I'm very sorry. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Can you please just repeat? Akarma, is that the same as inaction?
Akarma.
Yes.
Yeah, inaction. But again, like I said, inaction doesn't mean that we just sit and we do nothing. Like that's what Arjuna wanted to do, isn't it? He wanted to go away to the forest and beg.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Inaction.
Yes.
And then Krishna told him it's not possible for him to do that because his nature was a Kshatriya. He'd act anyway according to his nature. So better he acts according to Krishna's instructions. And the same applies for us. So our karma is not that, oh, okay, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and perform my duty. I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and be a student, or I'm going to wake up tomorrow and not be a mother or be a wife. No. It means we perform devotional service. Devotional services are karma because it has no reaction, because it is not performed under the modes of material nature.
Okay. And
Does that make sense?
yes, it does. Thank you. And can you please explain again to me this line from the Gita? Inaction, inaction, and action in inaction. That line.
Okay, so inaction, which is devotional service, right?
Mm-hmm.
So although we are acting, so inaction, but we are still we're acting, but the inaction element of it is that we're not incurring any reaction because we're performing devotional service. So that's inaction. So although we are acting, like right now I'm speaking, you're hearing, but because this is a completely transcendental activity, because we are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, it is considered inaction because we're not accruing any good or bad karma. This is a transcendental activity. Does that make sense? Now, in contrast, say if we were gossiping and we were backbiting and we were bad mouthing somebody or another friend who wasn't here with us, then we're incurring karma. Does that make sense?
Yes. I'm always baffled with this inaction,
Yes.
and I'm lost with
Yeah.
it most of the times. So it's like devotional service, not incurring any sins.
Yeah. So it's also considered inaction because we're not incurring any good or bad karma. It's transcendental.
Okay. I'm trying to write this. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions, comments? When I was younger, I never understood the modes. Uh, It was so difficult. I started reading Bhagavad Gita and I started going to the temple when I was 16 years old. I was so difficult to, I just did not understand the modes. But I don't know, I had a very, very, very strong desire to understand the modes. I don't know why. I would read the chapter, 14th chapter, and read and just like, I remember actually praying to Krishna. I really want to understand this. It's almost like subconsciously, maybe from a previous lifetime, I understood the importance of understanding. And I remember going to Krishna so many times and praying, like I really want to understand this. And also I have a bit of an academic side. And I can't say I've understood it completely, but there's some clarity, some understanding in what these modes are. But I'm telling you, once you get even a little understanding of the modes of material nature, like everything you do, you're just gauging. Okay, this is goodness. Am I in passion right now? Am I in ignorance right now? I come back from work and there's that strong pull to just watch a movie, and I'm like, okay, fine, I can do that, or I can do this. And sometimes, yes, I will watch a movie, but most of the time I'm like, okay, why don't just 15 minutes, just read Bhagavatam for 15 minutes, at work, when you're meeting colleagues, when you're meeting people who want to work with you, when you're meeting people from other companies, it is so amazing. Straight away, you can okay, this person is such a mode of passion person. It'll be very difficult to work with this person. This person is mode of goodness. He seems truthful. He's honest. Constantly, the intellect. And I don't know. I just make better decisions in life. So that's why I'm just really emphasizing, try and understand the modes of material nature. Very important for devotees, very important.
So, Mataji, are we driven by the modes of nature?
Yes, yes.
Right. So really, if we are driven by the modes of nature, then to get out of that is by devotion and bhakti and reading and all of that. Is that right?
Yes, yes, yes.
And because I heard in one of the discourses, I always assumed the soul is a silent witness in us. But in
Mm-hmm.
one of the discourses, I heard we are driven by the soul. And I thought to myself, well, I wonder, I didn't think that.
Mm. So the soul, okay, the super soul is the silent witness, like two birds on a tree.
Yes,
One bird is eating the fruit and one bird is observing.
yes,
So the bird that is observing is a super soul. So that's a
yes.
silent witness. The soul, the soul enables us to enjoy material desires. It
Mhm.
gives us the soul is giving us the consciousness to enjoy what we think enjoy or suffer material desires. But in this conditioned state, the soul thinks that it is enjoying or suffering, but it is not. It is completely aloof. It is so we find ourselves in the material world, then the modes, passion, ignorance, goodness, pushing us, the senses and the sense objects. I want to see, I want to hear, I want to do this. This is all happening under the modes of material nature, exactly like a puppet. So this force is a powerful energy. There's a powerful force. However, now the soul, because it is so conditioned to the material body, is thinking that it is enjoying or suffering. But the soul isn't. It is really actually only the modes of material nature that is acting and forcing us to act. In one sense, the soul has nothing to do with it. The soul is only is allowing it to happen because it is bringing us consciousness, because we are alive, because then we can feel, then we can have emotions. But is the soul engaged with the material modes of nature? Is the soul desiring? Is the soul enjoying? Is the soul suffering? No, no. It is just the interaction of the material modes of nature and the senses and the mind.
Mhm. In one of the other discourses, again, we were told that the soul is attached to the body or has that particular attachment. Is that right?
Yes.
It
Because
is.
in this conditioned state of mind, yes, the soul is attached to the body.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Your Grace, Ashwariya, Lila, Mataji, for the beautiful class on karma, and also for emphasizing to our the devotees in attendance, and also that those that will watch online the importance of
Thank
chapter
you very
14.
much.
Yes,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And thank you, Your Grace, Pramila, Mataji, for those beautiful questions. Thank you. Maybe now you can unmute.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namah. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, 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 Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Ram.
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Thank you.